Hello and welcome to the Angels Fall First Neutral Weapons Overview, where we go over the weapons that are available to both sides, the Anti-Air Imperial Army, or AIA, and the United League Army, or the ULA factions. Now, thing with neutral weapons is some people say, well, that just dilutes faction balance, you know, the asymmetrical balance that the factions have, since if you got a neutral weapon, it could either be better than a faction weapon or just better than both. So kind of loses balance, but I think it's a way of kind of putting a nice middle ground between the factions and just really cements the balance. So no faction kind of goes over to overpower the other. So I think the first thing we'll start with is the melee sonic knife. Now in the wiki, this is labeled as a ULA weapon. Some of the novellas mentioned the Antirian fire sword or whatever that is. So, anyways, right now both sides just have access to knife. Different options: a holster spec for quick draw. You also got these kind of like elemental effect specs. So, and it says fully charged alt fire. Now, there isn't an alt fire, so to say, it's just slice. However, the right trigger kind of does a little thrust, and if you hold it, that's a full charge. So, next up, for the first pistol, we got the Sikfrit Model 54. This bad boy. And as you know, Sikfrit is Avex. Those are AIA and ULA manufacturers, but these are kind of more common ones that end up on both sides. But the Sikfrit is, it's a hand cannon. It's basically what happens if we made the Desert Eagle a revolver. So it has sights, so you can make the sniper pistol. Same with the barrel. All the different ammunition types. I like using the incendiary ammo because you can set people on fire with this cannon. And just the pistol slots. Look at the stats. Only semi, but yeah, wow. Max damage 236. However, the fall off starts at 4 meters, so it's like a very kind of like a close range weapon. But a lot of people, and it's also cheap. It's like 6 combat, the cheapest sidearm. You probably take the multi-wrench over this and use this as like your primary secondary, but the cheapest weapon there is. So. A lot of weight behind it. Quite a lot of damage drop to it too. So, but just a big pancake. Next stop in the sidearm slot is where pistols and SMGs go, is the YAS-13. Submachine gun, weak but cheap. And 20 combat, yes, it is pretty much cheap. This is what you use if you're like running around with the grenade launcher or the railgun, and you pretty much use up all your budget. You can squeeze this in so you're not stuck with your knife if you're running out of ammo or don't have any vehicle targets and it's stuck in a firefight. Has the sight options, has the barrel options, different ammo variants, and of course, internal as well as submachine gun. Stats, nothing too fancy. Auto, 3 shots, pretty close to the Salier P4, but cheaper. Kind of has like the club vibes from GoldenEye, a spray and pray, pretty without any loadout if you're careful. If not, then drop something you don't need, like a spec or maybe a grenade or something. Next up is the Taldis A420. Very basic jack of all trades, master of none weapon, carbine. It's kind of like the projectile rifles of factions, though no undersling option. It has sights, it has the barrel options. As with all projectile weapons, has the different ammo types, and only a single eternal. So yeah, you can't really customize this, but if you need something to fit into your primary, that's not necessarily sidearm, because you probably use that to fill with a multi-tool. Yeah, you could probably fit this in. Here's your stats: auto and 2-shot. So pretty straightforward. Okay, so as you see, a very general carbine. Next up, we got this little odd, it's kind of like a submachine gun, but it doesn't fit inside your sidearm. It's a Falken FKR, short bore assault weapon system. Only has burst and single fire modes, very effective at medium range. So apparently it's supposed to be like a kind of a suppressive weapon. The sight options, barrel attachments, ammo variants, and your internals. Now, this has an odd 4-shot semi. It's a really odd choice because you can see with the magazine capacity, it's 40. So I think it was the gas or something that had that was 40, but it had a 3-round burst instead of 42. Way to put in some quick damage, make people start to cover. So you see, it's kind of a weapon more for like more for suppression than, but still it can add in some firepower to your firefights. Next up is the Salier SGZ Special, break action shotgun, cumbersome and devastating at close range. So shotgun, no sights, and different ammo capacity, but no barrel attachments or anything, as well as limited on your specs, but 2 of them. So what is this? This is a very bare bones shotgun, kind of it's kind of like, I guess you'd say, your daddy's shotgun or something. Fire mode's just double and single, but you might notice something. Just 2 rounds per magazine, so I like putting incendiary rounds on this because it's a great way to set people on fire. But as you see, every time you shoot, you pretty much got to reload. You can drop it to single fire, but with only 2 rounds, not much. And again, not very many attachments to this. But it's a cheap shotgun you can kind of squeeze into any close range build. Next up, we got the Falken GU34 coil gun, or kind of a Gauss rifle. Now, Gauss rifles or these coil-guns is has a very interesting fire mode known as charge. I'll talk about that. But sights, it has sights. It also has the underslung options. So this is one of the first neutral weapons that has an underslung, so you can put like incinerator or personal shield, something. Also internals. A lot of people like this because of some of the customizations you got, especially the underslung. Stats, fire modes, auto, but also it has a. I'll talk about the charge real quick. So you see the bar right here? That is the charge bar. So when you first get this out, it takes a while to charge, and what that charge is that's kind of like it's a coil gun, so it's charging the capacitor. So this is at the maximum range, damage, and effectiveness. It's a way to encourage shot control without adding a lot of recoil. So if you fire this, you lose your range and stuff and your effectiveness. So if you've seen the AA sniper or the ULA energy weapon and charge, they have the same. And no fire modes. All the fire modes will do is switch to your underslung weapon if you have it equipped. Next up is the Taldis SAR, or Squad Automatic Rifle. And as you might notice, we're now in the ULA briefing room. So again, these are neutral weapons. They're available for both sides of the game, both factions. This is kind of like your machine gun, but as you see, unlike all the other fire support weapons, this only costs 6 combat and no support, whereas all the other ones will cost 10 support. So if you're really tight on your support budget and you want to have some lots of firepower, this is a great option. Has different sights. Doesn't have any barrel attachments as any machine gun, but does have the underslung. And I correct myself, it does have the barrel attachments. So yes, this is the machine gun with the barrel attachment. Again, this is in early access, so things are changed. Matter of fact, I just found out that there's a little bit of in my ULA video, the rail rifle is actually a bug, so they're going to fix that. Magazine, you got the ammo variants and the internal specs. Go to stats. Fire modes, 3 shots and semi. So but it overheats. So with this overheating, you need to wait for it to and now this is the rule. Said you can get it to overheat even on semi. Okay. A lot harder to do, but still possible. Very good. It's a great squad automatic rifle if you already spent your support budget. Now we got this one that's a lot of fun, the MNL System. This is basically this is an automatic grenade launcher. So, system launches multiple charges that bore into any surface and detonate. Effective as an aerial denial weapon and other stuff. So, no sights nor any other attachments, even though it says grenades, just a couple internals. But you'll see this is kind of more of like just a, well, it's a fire support weapon that's cost 28 support and 66 combat. So, stats, sticky and bouncy. I'll show you really quick what those mean. Sticky. Now, as you'll see the AI and mostly use these single shot mode, but you can also charge it up. And just send it around. Lots of fun. And as for bouncy, this is bouncy. Most of all, I'm going to use the sticky one because it kind of gets a little more control, but you can use bouncy to get into places that bounce off walls or get around corners or just a little more range on it. And to go completely crazy. A fun weapon. So if you take this, as you see, you're going to run out of ammo quick, so bring some ammo packs with you. Next up is the P8 hunting rifle. Again, the sniper rifles are considered fire support. This is 36 support and 66 combat. Now, it's a sniper rifle basically. So you're going to want to include your sights on this if you use it. Has the barrel attachments. Marksmanship barrel is not needed as much, but you can if you want to get that extra range. Like with all projectile weapons, different ammunition variants. And not much on the specs really, but a sniper rifle. And also the stats. So, unique thing about this one is if you, take a look. Pretty much a hold action, but there's no magazine. So, all that ammunition you have is all you have. So, keep in mind, there is, doesn't carry a lot of ammo, so you don't want to bring ammo packs with this one. Literally, it's like, that was the quickest that I've seen it put in the board. That's it. No more no more ammunition for this gun unless you go to an ammo place. Now next up we got the neutral anti-vehicle weapon, the Sigurn-Fost C30I. You'll probably see C30I on a lot of things. Probable cannon with smart AV proximity shell detonation. So what this is it's kind of like a flak autocannon. No sights, just 3 different internals and 55 support and 66 combat. Not 66 like the other faction-specific anti-vehicle weapons. And it kind of has like a little flak cannon to it, so there you go. Specifically target these holograms, so there's no action yet. And the sight is all open. But anyways, when you target someone with your default G key, you'll probably see a little circle, and you see this on in fighters too and other things. It tells you where to shoot if you want to hit a target, if the target's moving in a certain direction, so it gives you a little lead indicator. And you'll be using that a lot, especially with weapons like these. So I'll see if I can cut it in here. But yeah, this is pretty much the neutral anti-air weapon. The AIA has a lock-on missiles, and of course the ULA has a very versatile and very effective railguns. But this still is really good to shoot at like an aircraft or something without triggering their lock and make them do their countermeasures and stuff. Or also just all around, you can use this to shoot at infantry too. Though airburst isn't as effective against infantry as it is against vehicles. Okay, as you see, this is just going over some of the attachments really quick. So I made this little Abomination, a sniper pistol, the short-range revolver with a marksman barrel and a scope. I wouldn't recommend do this, and this is more of like a beam than anything else, but just to show you what we're talking about. This is for fans of the very first Halo pistol. I was talking on the underslung weapons. There are some that are just a little bit like this is just a stat boost, so kind of like the barrel attachments. But here's your rockets. Here's the frag. Now remember, you got to switch fire modes. We'll switch to it. Default key is X, but I switched my X and F keys. Here's the underbarreled shotgun. Just a single shotgun round, so something to kind of like hit if you're in the middle of starting to reload, but very slow rate of fire as far as shotguns go. Next up is the underbarrel personal shield. I've mentioned this in the other videos, but now we'll show it to you what it is. So, as you see, when you pull it out, it takes some time to recharge, and then there you go. You got this forward-firing shield that covers you and anyone behind you. Now, as you block bullets, you but But also, as you block bullets, you do get your support rank update. Reloading and overheating does not reset the shield, but switching weapons will reset the shield. Takes about 5-6 seconds to get up, and then it comes up. Next up is probably everyone's favorite underslung weapon, but also the most expensive at 6.6 command and 6.6 combat, the flamethrower, the incinerator. It's a flamethrower. So go through the fire, you start taking heat damage, and well, friendly fire is off. Now, not supposed to reload. Next up, we got explosives, and these are grenades. Now, I'm going to go through all the different charges real quick. So, smoke charge just blocks the vision. It's a great way to block line of sight. When you block line of sight, you disappear on people's HUDs, so they lose track of you and stuff like that. Stats is pretty basic, just throw. Nothing to it. 2 grenades per. There really is no alternate fire, though you can, I guess, hold it to pick it up and then throw it. Shock grenades are EMP damage. See the EMP effects right there. Now, real quick on the EMP damage, the shock is it keeps you from running or boosting. Also takes out shields, and if you have a charge weapon, it interrupts a charge. So corrosive, this does makes you more vulnerable to elemental damage. Also drops your max armor and hit points by 20%. And that's kind of like a permanent. The only way to get rid of that is redeploy. Now, when you hit by acid or something like that, so we can do it here. Okay, but you'll see a COR in your health and armor in the right corner. Friendly fire is off, so I can't do that here. Anyways, it will tell you what your new maximum is. If it's over that, then you're fine, but if it's under, you can only repair or heal up to that amount. Incendiary Grenades is fire, so damage over time. And last but not least, you got fragmentation charges. Now, you can mix up the effects to do like, Incinerator and Corrosive, or if you double up. If you double up, it provides a wider area of effect. So wider blast radius for double charges. And that's the same for mine stuff. Now, as you see, there's different types of grenades. Pretty much all the grenades are the same, just some kind of act like a smart grenade or something like that. And all grenades have the same options. So, the gyro grenades, basically each bounce inertia is compensated towards closest enemy. So it's supposed to bounce towards towards your target, or whoever the target is. Well, wherever that target is, indeed. I guess these things don't count as enemies, but you see a lot more bouncier. Now we got the spring grenades. So this is supposed to be like a bouncing Betty or a proximity trigger, leaps to height before detonating. So what this is basically it's a throwable mine. When you throw it, you see that little circle around there? That's an actual proximity detonation, and it won't detonate until someone gets over. So yeah, this is indeed a throwing, bouncing Betty. Next up, we got Detpacks. These are kind of like your placed explosives or thrown explosives triggered by proximity or detonator. So, if this is remote, switch weapons, switches it to proximity. Right there, as you can see, it's a mine, so you have to set it. Right now there's no enemies and this is a friendly area, so nothing's going to set it off. So we'll set off this way. You can set one or multiple. And then right trigger is the detonator. Go ahead, reload it, and here, hold on to this. You hold on to this. That's the year come on. Oh sure, ammo. Go ahead, go over there, and just put everything in there. And what do you mean there's a traitor among us? Forward for the Unity League. Now we're in the kit options. As you see, these tend to cost more support and not combat or command. And here is motion sensor. So, also acts as a noise-making decoy. So this is kind of just like a sensor you can throw behind a wall, and it acts as a scan, puts icons up. Not so much. Decoy. And this decoy sounds like someone's shooting. No, disabled in here. It just makes noise and stuff. So if you want to do a distraction. Okay, I'm running out of time, so the noise maker's going to be on in the background. Anyways, here's the Avex shield. Now this is going to go with both sides, and it's a deployable shield. Now usually you can only have one turret at a time. So the shield, yellow is AI shields, as you see with the Underslung shield. That's blue for the ULA. Keep in mind, turrets can be hacked, and when they do, they switch sides. Shields never hit, so this could turn into shield for your side. Here's the medical pack. Now, fairly easy to say. Basically, hit points don't heal, while armor points do. And with the multi-tool, you can repair armor, but right now, for health, the only way to heal is through these med packs. You just stand near them, and you'll see blue indicators instead of like red or yellow telling you damage, and it tells you you're healed when you see your health mark go up. I believe I already demonstrated this before, but this is the Munitions Pack. Basically, if you're out of ammo, you'll drop this and refill your ammo by being near it. There you go. Now keep in mind, it won't refill kit items. You got to go back to a base or redeploy for that. So you can't like ammo yourself an ammo pack, but it will replenish all weapons, primary, secondary, and your sidearm, as well as your grenades. Last for the kit items is the Autosentry Incinerator. And this is the turret that's available to both sides. So if you see a turret, it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be their faction turret, the machine gun for the ULA, or the plasma gun for the AIA, or a flamethrower. And you'll find this, it's very common. Now last but not all least is the KMD Multiwrench. Now this goes in the sidearm slot, even though it could probably easily be one of the kit slots. I'm gonna have to show repair here, but this is repair. There's also revive fallen people that are down, so fallen teammates. There is no open fire mode. However, it does not heal health points, so you need to combine this with the med pack one and some control. But it will repair vehicles, it will repair anything else. So, the reason why I guess this is in a sidearm is you'll probably just put this in your sidearm rather than a pistol or a submachine gun, and also it costs nothing. So yeah, I think the only time you would ever put something else other than that is if you are running an agility spec, and then you'll be able to sprint while shooting. The agility spec, but otherwise well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and these are all basically the infantry weapons, all the neutral weapons. Previously I did one on the AIA weapons and another video on the ULA weapons. Perhaps later I'll be going over maybe some vehicle or starship weapons. Isn't that much variety between the two, and a lot harder to do than this, because you got to go out to the game. There's no like practice area for them yet. Hopefully that will change later. But till then, see you next time.